loves me. We're as happy as two can be. Sometimes we quarrel, but then how we love making up again. Lucy kisses like no one can. She's my missus and I'm her man. And life is heaven, you see. 'Cause I love Lucy, yes, I love Lucy. And Lucy loves me. Everybody!
Hey, everybody.
Hi, Rob.
This is Rob Spalding. I'm with
Martha Green.
Nancy Zimmerman.
And hey, guys, we love Lucy. This is episode 3. How are you guys doing?
Doing fine.
Good week? Everybody have a good week?
Good week. Beautiful day. Can't complain. Nobody would listen if we did.
Why bother, right?
Right.
Excellent. Hey, big birthday this week.
Yep.
Ooh, who had
Yeah.
a birthday?
The redhead herself.
Lucy?
Lucy, August
Yeah.
6th.
Yeah.
How
believe
old would
that?
she be now?
You know what? I'm going to look.
Meanwhile, I came up, while Rob's looking at that, I came up with a little bit of trivia as to how the Mertzes got their name. Madeline Pugh went to school at IU and got a job in Indianapolis. After she went for journalism, got a job in Indianapolis at, I believe, station WIRE. It's not one I'm familiar with, but back then evidently it existed. And there was a Dr. Mertz that lived down the street from her in Indianapolis. So that is where the Mertzes came.
The Mertzes.
Wasn't that a theme kind of for the writers to pull people out of their names out of their everyday life?
Yeah.
Yeah. 1911, so she would have been 107.
Wow.
So those fantasies that, gosh, wouldn't have been great if Lucy were still alive were probably not very real. Not very realistic.
In dog years, she's dead.
Yeah. Yeah, she's very, very old in dog years. So that's great. So the Mertzes, their neighbor, Madeline Pugh's neighbor. You know, she was from Indiana, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And one thing, though, you think about the Mertzes and how they have kind of, we have them in their mind as Vivian Vance and William Frawley. Well, originally, Lucy wanted to bring the couple that were the Atterberries, who were her husband's boss and his wife, wanted to bring those two actors to the I Love Lucy show. And those were people that we're all familiar with.
Sure.
Gail Gordon.
Mr. Mooney,
who she later had on the Lucille Ball show.
Right.
And then Bea Benaderet, who was on...
She was on everybody's
Beverly
shows.
Hillbillies.
Petticoat Junction.
And she was on, what was it you said?
George Burns and Gracie.
Yeah.
That's right. She was a next door neighbor.
Yeah. So...
she was, believe it or not, the sane one between her and Gracie Allen. She was really, really funny. She was a great actress because she kind of moved between all of those roles and was really funny. But she had a great sense of humor herself. But
good sense of timing.
She worked a lot.
But I think that's for a humorist, for a comedian. I think that is what sets them one step into success, is not necessarily the jokes they tell, because they all have writers. So,
right.
And they all have good writers.
Right.
But their ability to give it with just the right twist and timing, and it either works or it doesn't.
How do you deliver it? It's all in the delivery.
Right.
Yeah, it sure is. And they certainly could. Of course, she was the sane one of that pairing between she and Gracie Allen, who in her own right was huge.
A genius.
Yeah. Did we have this conversation the other day, though, that she wore long-sleeve dresses, Gracie Allen did, because she had been burnt on one of her arms, and she was self-conscious her whole life about that.
I think we did have that on air even, maybe. Yeah. I don't think, I never can remember, Rob, what we discussed before we're on air and what we've done for a different show.
Yeah. Or sometimes we just make things up, or sometimes we imagine. Madeline Pugh, and it was Madeline Davis also, because didn't she marry one of the other writers or something? or somebody else who wrote for television.
Could have been.
Pepe, was it Pepe Le Pew that she married?
Exactly. She was born in Indianapolis in 1921. So, yeah, that's where her roots. Her roots were here in the Heartland.
It's
And
the Heartland, remember, not the Brainland. It's the Heartland.
That's right. That hurts. That hurts a lot.
Only because it's true.
Yeah. That hurts a lot. So, what kind of week do you guys have? Everybody have a good week?
It's yes, I did. It's been exciting. I've got a kids book out again.
Good for you.
So,
No kidding. It's
yeah.
out.
It's out.
So it's available.
It is available. Charlie Visits Vincennes, and it's got a twist at the end that it's a cute little kids book.
It's a cliffhanger.
And has
It took a wrong turn and went to Evansville.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, it's part of the Young Artist series, and it showcases the artists that do the drawings. In this case, it's a 12-year-old girl. She did some good.
Amazing.
Well, that's it. So she did all your illustrations.
She did all the illustrations. I would highly recommend it to
That is amazing. So if someone listening to this wanted to buy that book, they would go to
Amazon or Barnes & Noble.
Okay, and they would. What's the name again?
Charlie Visits Vincennes.
That's awesome. And who's the artist?
Avery Oldham.
Okay.
12 years old.
Oh, you know what? I know her dad, and they just moved. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, her dad's a pastor.
I didn't realize that.
Her dad's a minister.
Justin?
I know him.
No.
Trey.
Trey.
Yeah.
Okay. I met him whenever I met Avery back whenever she started.
Nice
Seemed
guy.
like a very nice guy.
So that's awesome. A 12-year-old did your illustrations,
Yep.
and they're pretty cool because
They
I'm
are.
kind of playing dumb, so you'll give me the information. But I've seen it, and it's beautiful.
I will. I'll bring you a book and show you.
Excellent. I have seen them. I think I've seen them.
Okay.
I've seen a couple of them.
I've shown. I posted some on my Facebook, but
Very
let's
good.
go it off the Lucy topic.
12 years. did a book.
Yeah.
I know.
And what have you done with your life?
Well,
You haven't written a book. Right?
can I pass? Pass. Go to the next person.
Well, that's one thing. I just felt like for young artists, there's a lot of talent out there.
Right.
And that is an accomplishment
It is
that
an
she will
accomplishment.
have for the rest of her life to show her grandchildren.
And she'll only get better.
Yes, and she's got she's young.
Yeah. You don't want to peak too early, so she's going to get better, right? And Martha, we decided what would your title be called?
If I do a book, it's going to appeal to the inner child in everyone, and I'm going to call it "You're Not the Boss of Me."
So my title, Martha Rolls Her Eyes Again. Was it the?
Did you hear that eye roll?
That is awesome. But this isn't your first book, Nancy. I know we're off the subject, but this isn't your first book.
No, it isn't.
So
yeah.
It's my first rodeo, though.
Well, it's interesting that we brought in Madeline Pugh and some of these other things because the episode that we're looking at tonight is the TV episode was called Be a Pal. And there is a, as we've talked about, the same writers for My Favorite Husband, As I Love Lucy, Madeline Pugh, Jess Oppenheimer, and who's our other? Bob
Carol.
Bob Carroll. And what happened was they would reuse some of the old My Favorite Husband scripts, and they would modify them from the original Lucy and Richard Denning to the Ricardos. And they were using. So tonight, that's what we're going to look at. We're going to do
Richard Denning.
Yeah, you did. You know what?
He was nice looking, but like I said, I like Ricky too, and Ricky does have the accent.
Yeah, that's currently the elephant in the room tonight. You have got a crush on Richard Denning?
Yeah, kind of. I'm kind of crushing on him. Yeah.
How old would he be, though, Martha?
If Martha,
it's like Sean Connery. I don't care how old he is.
Now, we could definitely get into a war over Sean Connery. Bring it on.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of like Sam Elliott used to be.
Yeah.
There's Tom
Sam
Selleck.
Elliott. He's always got Elliott has that. He has that one pose. He, kind of looking out, squinting one eye, and he holds his head down, and that's.
Yeah.
When he does it close up, it's always.
And for those listening at home, Martha has tilted her head with a.
I look like I've had a stroke.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say that. So that's her now famous Sam Elliott look, which is Martha with a head injury.
Yeah. It could happen.
Yeah.
Before the show is over.
It could happen. Yes. So Martha's in love with Richard Denning, or the Richard Denning that was.
I'm telling you what.
1949.
He was a nice looking guy.
You know, even over Ricky, you know. I mean, it's, I don't know.
Okay.
I'll take Ricky. You can have
What do you
Richard.
think, Rob?
And,
How do you feel about this? Since the women have taken over now.
Right. You know what? I thought when you're a kid, you see Lucy and she's funny, but as you get older, you realize how truly beautiful she was.
She was gorgeous.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I
Started
thought
as
she
a
was
model.
beautiful.
And and she could dance. She was a dancer and a
Right.
singer. And
And you know, it says a lot for her talent because she sang so terribly on the
Right.
show. You know, it's like a figure skater who it looks like they're clumsy. You have to practice.
That is an
to
art.
You have to practice. So
that's an art.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she started as a Goldwyn girl. We had that conversation in the previous episode, and that was kind of her thing in the 1930s. So she would be in all those, you know, the Follies of 1935 or whatever those were, and most of the people coming through, they could dance, they could tell jokes, they could do magic. They could do magic tricks, and they could sing. But I don't think there's any kind of evidence that she ever could sing. You know what I'm saying? And that was the one talent, I guess, that she never had. But it was just kind of funny.
I think she did sing in some of her movies, didn't she?
We'll have to get on IMDb.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Which, for those of you listening, don't know, that is the Paramount
Movie
internet,
base.
yeah, internet movie database,
Right.
IMDb, and we use it at the library all the time.
Yes, when someone comes into the library and goes, you know that one movie where that one thing with the one guy doing and then you have to
It
try
had
to
a blue cover. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
because the library locally has how many DVDs?
You know, I really don't know anymore. I would say probably, and this is just a guess at this point, between 25,000 maybe or more, because they're never in at the same time.
Right.
They're in and out, and but we've got a pretty decent.
So I would
collection.
guess there would be more than one blue cover.
At least 3. Now, light blue, or are you talking teal blue or
Yeah.
turquoise?
Let's
navy
be more
blue?
specific. That's hilarious. So tonight, as I mentioned, we're doing kind of the parallels of the two scripts and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and play a couple clips here to kind of set this up. Lucy is setting. Well, do you want to? She's sitting at the dining room or the kitchen table.
Her hair in rollers and in her pajamas, and Ricky's got his face behind the newspaper, and she's trying to talk to him, and it doesn't take. So she goes out the door and around and rings the doorbell, and he says, "Lucy, get it," And so she goes. He finally knocks on the back door, and he goes to the door. And she goes, "Is the lady of the house here?" And he goes, "Lucy, it's for you." And he's talking to Lucy. And, it's just kind of the typical
So checked
interaction.
out.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And it's kind of that, I guess, I don't want to say it's famous scene, but the scene where she ejects the toast out of the toaster and it
Yes,
flies over the newspaper.
And he catches it.
Well, this first clip is right after that happens. And, of course, Ricky goes off into the room, and then there's a knock at the back door, and it's Ethel, and Ethel comes in, and that's where we pick this up.
What's the matter? Aren't you hungry? Somebody's disposition got up on the wrong side of the bed this morning. Did you and Ricky have words? We had words, all right, but they were all mine. I'm sick and tired of eating breakfast opposite a newspaper. Does Ricky hide behind his newspaper in the morning? He certainly does. Does he ignore you and refuse to answer questions? Exactly. Well, this is a case for Dr. Humphreys. Dr. Humphreys? Dr. Humphreys. He just wrote a book called How to Keep the Honeymoon from Ending. Is that a book of the week selection? Uh-huh. We have that book. Well, you should read it. Why? What could Dr. Humphreys possibly know about Ricky? I'll show you. Where's the book? Over there on the desk, I guess. Well, now, let's see. Here, Chapter 1. When love is on the wane. Often after the first years of marriage, the husband seems to lose interest in the wife. He reads the paper at the breakfast table. He doesn't answer when you talk to him. In short, he doesn't seem to know you are alive. I wonder where Dr. Humphreys ever met Ricky. More than likely, this unfortunate condition is the fault of the wife. What? That's a lot of nonsense. Contrary to what some wives may think, this is not a lot of nonsense. Well, research shows that this condition starts when the wife becomes careless about her appearance. Let her ask herself these questions. Does she come to breakfast with her hair in curlers? Is she sloppy in her attire? Does she forget to make up her face? Is the answer to these questions yes? Then it is time for the wife to do something about it. What? Dress up for your husband at breakfast. Be glamorous and sophisticated. Make yourself so attractive, he not only will pay attention to you during breakfast, he won't even want to leave for the office. I'll do it. Tomorrow morning, I'll be simply dazzling.
Did you hear my eyes roll?
That's a pretty dated, it is not the problem of the husband, it's the problem of the wife. She's not trying hard enough.
But back in the 40s and 50s in Good Housekeeping and all those books, that's, that was basically their approach.
Put on your prettiest dress.
Yes. So she got up hours early, and as the episode unfolds, she wears a gown and
a corsage.
A corsage,
like she has a
no
corsage
less. Yes,
on.
yes, it's a big corsage as well. And so what happens? Ricky still doesn't really notice her.
No, not at all.
It's still her fault.
It's still her fault.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I think she's ready to toss the book out the window. And
Yeah.
Ethel wants to go to chapter 2.
So Ethel goes to chapter 2, and here's this one.
Well, is everything okie dokie? No, everything is inky stinky. What happened? Nothing. He didn't even notice me. Oh, I'm sorry. I can't imagine why it didn't work. Well, let's see what Dr. Humphreys has to say. Oh, forget that tired Dr. Humphreys. What does he know? Be glamorous in the morning. Be sophisticated. This method cannot fail. Ha-ha! Now, just a minute. Let's look at chapter 2. If the method in chapter 1 fails... And it did. If the method in chapter 1 fails, you should next try the BA PAL system. BA PAL system? Share your husband's interests. Join in his hobbies. If he hunts, take up hunting. If he fishes, take up fishing. If he golfs, take up golfing. Ricky plays poker. I'll have to take up poking. Hey, Ricky's playing tonight, isn't he? Yeah, with Fred and the boys down in our apartment. I'm joining that game. Atta girl. Oh, wait a minute. I don't know how to play poker. So what? I can teach you in a couple of hours. Okay, how do we start? Well, it's a lot like hearts, only you bet, and there isn't any old maid.
I'm not sure it's just like that. I'm not sure that's how that works.
Well, and this is the poker game is my favorite segment in this episode.
Because that doesn't go as planned. Apparently, she didn't learn as quickly as they thought, and so Ricky and his buddies are all together.
And Fred makes this segment. To me, Fred makes this segment as humorous as it is. Fred and Lucy's interaction.
Well, she's doing that real exaggerated dealing and all that kind of stuff. Well, in this clip right here, she and Fred are in this, and this is kind of funny. She's got their cards and they're betting, and let's listen.
I'll bet 5.
Oh, you're raising me.
I am?
There's your raise, and I'll raise you 2.
Well, there's your raise, and I'll raise you 3.
There's your raise, and I'll raise you 4.
Well, there's your raise, and I'll raise you... Ricky,
What?
run over it for me, will you?
Run over what?
You know, what beats what?
2 pairs beat a pair.
Go on.
3 of a kind beats 2 pair.
Go on.
A straight beats 3 of a kind.
Go on.
A flush beats a straight.
Go on.
A full house beats a flush.
Go on.
4 of a kind beats a full house.
That's the one!
They're all yours.
Now, the funny thing, though, with that is whenever they want to see what she had 4 of a kind, she said, no, she just had a pair.
Yeah, it was like a pair of twos. Yeah.
It was a pair of 9s. But then he goes, Lucy, this is a 9. This is a 6.
So she didn't have two.
She didn't even have a pair.
That's right.
So
that is
just,
so funny. That is so funny. So so we go back to that doesn't work. So we go to chapter 3, and chapter 3 is
maybe child. He needs to be reminded of his childhood, of happier days.
Happier days.
You know, and she comes out though, and I don't know if you're going to play, but she comes out with the Carmen Miranda for those in that time period with the fruit basket on her head. And the thing is that I was reading, she called to ask Carmen Miranda if it was okay to do that kind, because it was so noticeably
so identifiable to Carmen Miranda.
Yes, it was. So, and she got Carmen Miranda's permission, so that's why that turned out the way it did.
Very good.
I mean,
So Ricky comes home, and wasn't it Ethel? Isn't Ethel in the scene? Yeah, she's is.
She's sitting there, and there's another one. There's somebody else sitting there. You think until Ricky takes the hat off, and it's a stuffed,
mannequin or whatever.
He thinks Ethel is also a stuffed, and she screams whenever.
So it's made up to look like a market or whatever, Cuban market
place with a burro and crates of chickens,
and food and everything sitting around, and music. She comes out. So then after that, Ricky is absolutely stunned, and we'll play this last clip here.
How are you, my little cucaracha? How you like the hacienda,
Lucy, have you gone off your rocker?
Pedro, Pablo, Chucho, Jose, Jose, Lala, your brother is home.
Wait a minute! Lucy, what's going on?
We have big fiesta, frijole, taco, enchilada, tamale, buenos ranchitas, guacamole, guaco taco. Big fiesta!
Lucy, please, would you mind telling me what's going on?
We make everything nice for you, like when you little boy in Cuba. You like?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't?
Now, look, would you please explain to me what is the idea of all this?
Well, I thought you were getting tired of me, and if our home reminded you of Cuba, you might like me better.
Oh, honey. Oh, Lucy, darling. If I wanted things Cuban, I stayed in Havana. That's the reason I married you, because you're so different from anyone I've known in Cuba.
Who'd you know in Cuba?
That is great stuff, right?
That's I was going to say you just can't beat it.
And then everything was fine after that.
Always a happy ending.
Always.
In less than 20 minutes. If only real life could be just like that.
Where we set up the dilemma, we have the crisis,
there's the twist.
Yeah.
And then it's resolved peacefully and happily.
Yes.
Don't you think that's one reason why we watch these shows, though, is because it gives us a glimpse of our fantasies that we wish life were like that.
I think it's the reason why there's always they're looking to, in some way or another, remake some of these older thematically.
Exactly.
Because I think people have kind of tired of everything, of all the negativity and everything in life, and
they're relatable. They're just relatable. That everybody has the same emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Anger, jealousy, envy. Happiness is in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Not as often probably as it should be or needs to be for ourselves.
Yeah. I think just like in earlier in the episode when she's talking about it's the wife's responsibility to make the husband happy and all that. I think also, that is kind of the downside, obviously, of that. But I think just kind of the end happily and everyone is.
But even though as women of the new millennium, we can say that the roles, we expect different behaviors from the roles that we did 50, 60 years ago. There is still I think a truism to the fact that we're never going to be totally equal, and I don't think we want to be, not really. That robots can be equal. I think human beings, our uniqueness is what gives us all the facets of life. So
now that's getting pretty deep.
I know.
That's
my philosophy for the day. It didn't make a bit of sense, but it sounded good, didn't it, folks?
Yeah.
I was going to say, I always liked how Fred could do that whistle.
Right?
I can't do it, but he'd always.
There again, it's all that talent that in those vaudeville actors and stuff. We started talking last week about Vivian Vance, and I want us to commit that in a future episode we'll just talk about, because there's so much fascinating stuff in her life. Same with William Frawley, absolutely fascinating lives. And I was I'd seen a few weeks ago something that was talking about the details of their contracts, and one of his thing in his contract was that if the Yankees made the World Series, that they would either leave him out of that episode or whatever, so that he didn't miss the Yankees. So there's a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah. I need to get the book on Ethel. What did you say the title is?
The Other Side of Ethel Mertz.
Yeah.
I think we do have it. I looked. Yeah.
Yeah. If anyone could just steal that book, that would be you. But
you check it out in my name. I'll give you my library card.
I can do that for you. I'd be happy to get it with the library card, not to steal it.
I've got my library card with me today. I could give it to you. And getting it back on time, I may end up with.
It's a 28-day book. There will be no fees.
Oh, good. Well, I'll have.
As far as you know,
I'll have it read. Well, I'll have it read shortly. It's just getting it back.
But it's fascinating when you read those. I love those biographies, those autobiographies of people like her, Rosemary. Allison Arngrim from Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah.
Wow, she had a tough time coming up.
Now, which one was she? Was
Nellie Olson.
Nellie.
Yeah. And she was so typecast. People just still hated her for a long time.
Oh, because she was the mean kid?
Yeah. And
okay.
and one time she and the woman that played her mother, they went to a supermarket opening. And people just started...
character?
Yeah, well, yeah. And they just started throwing canned goods and stuff. She's like, oh my God, we hate you. But she came from a Hollywood family, show business. And she had a really, when you read it, you become so sympathetic to her. And then you realize the gal that played Mary Sue Anderson, that played Half Pint's sister, now she was the real-life Nellie Olson.
Oh, really?
And she had a stage mother.
Is that the little?
No, the older one that went blind.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
She was in a couple of episodes of Murder, She Wrote. Remember her there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Isn't that how it worked, though? They just sort of recycled through, Murder. They all played in Murder, She Wrote, or one of those.
Actually, you kind of knew that your career was on the... It was on the rocks if you were doing episodes of Love Boat,
or you were you were jet skiing over skiing over a shark when you knew.
Hey, Fonzie. Hey.
You knew that this thing was taking on water.
It's like
yeah.
Who remembers Manimal?
Yeah.
Super Train.
Exactly. Well, that's awesome. Hey, you guys got anything else for tonight?
Can't think of a thing. I think we've about covered it.
I know. All right, it's good stuff. Hey, listen, coming up, the radio version of Be a Pal, and this is Be a Pal to Your Husband. It is from June 18th of 1950 with Lucille Ball and the dashing Richard Denning and My Favorite Husband.
Sigh.
And I got a wonderful present for you. You want to hear it?
Hear it?
I love Lucy and she loves me. We're as happy as two can be. Sometimes we quarrel, but then how we love making up again.
It's time for My Favorite Husband, starring Lucille Ball.
Hello, everybody.
Yes, it's the Gay Family series starring Lucille Ball with Richard Denning. Transcribed and brought to you by the Jell-O family of desserts.
J-E-L-L. Oh, the big red letters stand for the Jell-O family. Oh, the big red letters stand for the Jell-O family. That's Jell-O.
Yum, yum, yum.
Jell-O pudding.
Yum, yum, yum.
Jell-O tapioca puddings, yes, sirree.
And now Lucille Ball with Richard Denning as Liz and George Cooper. Two people who live together and like it. As we look in on the Coopers, it's breakfast time. Liz and George are having an argument about their plans for the evening. Liz wants to go to a symphony concert, and George wants to have a poker game.
Concert.
Poker.
Concert.
Poker.
Concert.
Poker.
Poker.
Concert.
All right, we'll go to the concert.
Now, wait a minute.
You said concert.
Well, I didn't mean it. I was tricked into it. Oh, gee, Liz. Why are we arguing so much lately?
Well, it's all your fault. Whenever I want to do something, you want to do something else.
Oh, but, honey, think of the fun we could have playing poker with other couples. Other men's wives know how to play poker. Now what's the matter?
You don't love me. You wish you were married to a poker player.
Oh, now, honey, I didn't mean to say
I
that.
can see it all now. The bride looked lovely in a white satin gown, sleeve bands, and a green eye shade.
Oh, Liz, please, now calm down, honey. I'm sorry I upset you.
Then you'll go to the concert?
No.
All right, go ahead and play poker, and I hope your partner trumps your full house.
This was the best luncheon our club's had in a long time. Didn't you think so, Liz?
Oh, I don't think so much of it, Iris.
Didn't you like your chicken patty?
Well, I didn't get any chicken. All I got was patty.
Well, our guest speaker seemed to enjoy his lunch. He's had 3 helpings.
Yeah, if he eats any more, we'll lose money on him. What's he going to talk about?
How to be happy though married.
Oh.
I better introduce him. Ladies! Quiet, ladies! Girls! It is my pleasure to present to you one of the world's greatest authorities on successful and happy marriages, Professor Philip Milmoss. Professor Milmoss, that's you. They're waiting.
Huh? Oh. Lady, pardon me till I take a swallow of coffee. There. Ladies, I speak to you today on one of the most wonderful of human achievements, a happy marriage. But don't take that plate. I haven't finished the pastry. Now, ladies, the trouble with most marriages lies with you.
What does he mean? What does he mean with me?
Be a pal to your husband. Learn to like the things he likes. Be interested in his hobbies. For this way lies peace and happiness in marriage.
I'd like to ask a question, Professor.
Certainly.
Why does it always have to be the woman who gives in?
A very interesting question. And the answer lies in my book, which will be sold at the door as you leave. Price is 79 cents. Let me quote from page 65. Quote, be your husband's best friend. Be like his dog. You'll never hear a man arguing with his dog.
But, Professor...
I haven't finished.
Oh, sorry.
Unquote. Yes?
Well, Professor, I'm going to try your system about being like my husband's dog. Almost.
What do you mean, almost?
Well, I don't mind running out to greet him when he whistles, or even running and jumping into his lap. But I'll be darned if I'll sit on the floor and lick his hand while he's eating dinner.
Pardon me, Mrs. Cooper, but Mr. Cooper just came home. You asked me to tell you.
Oh, thank you, Katie. I'll go right in and give him the mill moss treatment.
Beg pardon?
I'm going in and be a pal to George. I'm going to be interested in everything he is.
I hope it works. He's in there reading the paper.
Good. I'll start with that. I'll read the paper and discuss it with him.
Oh, this ought to be interesting.
Hello, George. How's my little husband tonight?
Your husband is fine, and he is not going to that concert.
Oh, who cares about an old concert anyway? Give me part of the paper, old pal.
All right. Here's the society page.
Society page? Oh, give me something interesting. Where's the sports section?
Sports section?
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen you read the sports section.
Oh, I never miss it. Give it to me. I'll read it to you.
Well, this should be interesting.
Well, let's see now. Williams Bags Crown by Tico in 8th.
Tico. That's T-K-O.
Well, how would you pronounce it?
Technical knockout.
Oh. Well, I never cared much for basketball anyway.
I see.
Well, now, here's something I didn't know about. Midget racing.
Well, what about it?
They ought to be ashamed making those little men run around the track.
Thank you, Ted Husing.
And you didn't think I knew anything about sports, did you?
Tell me, Red Barber, what else is new in the sports world?
Oh, my goodness. It's not bad enough with midgets. Now they're racing little girls.
This I've got to see.
It says so right here. Yesterday at Tan Ferran, a race was won by a 3-year-old maiden.
This can't be happening.
She certainly was carrying a lot of money for a little girl. She had $2,000 in her purse.
Oh, Liz, that would do credit to Grantland Rice.
To what?
Haven't you ever heard of Grantland Rice?
Certainly I've heard of Grantland Rice, but I never tasted it.
Oh, no.
George, I have something nice to tell you. I'm not going to the concert tonight.
You're not?
No, I'm going to be a real pal to you. I'm going to share your interests. I'm going to stay home and play poker with you and Mr. Atterbury and the boys from the bank.
You're what? But you don't know how to play poker.
Well, I'm going to learn how. I've got a whole hour before they get here.
Oh.
Well, now that you're all here, we might as well get started with a poker game, huh, fellas?
You're sure you boys don't mind if Liz plays with us?
No, we're delighted.
I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Well, batter up.
What? She means set 'em up in the other alley.
Yeah.
Oh, Gad.
Well, let's start. You deal, Joe.
All right.
Oh, isn't this fun? I just love playing poker.
All right, Liz, it's up to you.
What is?
You start.
Start what?
You pass.
Pass what?
Can you open?
Open what?
What have you got in your hands? Any pairs?
No, they're all different numbers.
Can anybody open? All right, throw your cards in.
Funny thing, they were all different numbers, but they were all the same suit.
Your deal, Mr. Atterbury.
Do I have to? Look, why don't we all go off by ourselves and play solitaire?
No, I want to play poker.
Oh, well, here we go.
Ooh, a queen.
Liz, never mind.
Ooh, there's your sister.
Liz, you're supposed to keep your cards a secret.
Ooh.
What did you get, Mr. Atterbury?
I shouldn't talk, but tell your two Andrews sisters not to wait up for Laverne. I open for two.
I'm in.
I'm in. Put in 2 chips, Liz.
Okay.
Cards?
They're in your hand.
Thank you.
Give me 2.
3. How many cards do you want, Liz?
Oh, do I get more?
You throw away the worst cards in your hand and try to draw better ones.
Why?
Because that's the way you play poker!
Oh. Well, which one shall I throw away? The 2 queens or the 3-5? Well, what are you pushing all the chips over to me for?
Because as much as I hate to admit it, you win.
I do? Oh, this is fun. Come on, deal them again. I can play poker all night.
Mr. Atterbury, are you busy? Can I see you a minute?
Of course, George. Come on in. What's on your mind, boy?
Well, it's Liz. Oh, this pal business is driving me nuts.
If last night was an example, boy, I know what you mean.
I'm sorry about that, sir.
Oh, that's all right. I was honored to be present on such a memorable occasion. I can always tell my grandchildren that I was there the night poker died.
Oh, it's awful. She wants to do everything I do. I'm going on a camping trip this weekend to get rid of her.
Oh, wait a minute, boy. I have an idea. Take Liz on the trip with you.
Oh, very funny, Mr. Atterbury.
No, I mean it. Take Liz with you and work her head off. By the time she's hiked through the woods, waded through icy streams, and slept on the cold ground, she'll be plenty sick of being your boon companion.
Hey, that's a good idea.
Good my foot. It's sheer genius.
I'll do it. I've got to stop this thing some way.
I'll say you do, boy. First thing you know, Liz will be buying you mother and daughter sunsuits.
And now back to Lucille Ball in My Favorite Husband. We find Liz still concentrating on being a pal to George. Right now, they're getting ready to go on a camping trip.
Mrs. Cooper, here's the box of food I fixed for the trip.
Oh, thank you, Katie. We're just about ready to leave. Oh, I'll get it. Hello?
Hello, Liz?
Oh, hi, Iris. We're just leaving.
Don't go, girl. You're about to be booby-trapped.
What are you talking about?
Do you know why George is taking you to the mountains?
Certainly, because I'm his boon companion.
The way I heard it, Boone plans to get rid of his companion.
What do you mean?
George is going to wear you out hiking and fishing and camping. He's sick of having you for a pal.
I don't believe it.
It's true. Rudolph came home from the bank looking like the cat who swallowed the canary.
And you wheedled it out of him.
Who has to wheedle that big blabbermouth?
Well, Iris, thanks a lot for telling me.
That's okay, girl. I suppose you won't go now.
Of course I'm going. And I've got a plan, Iris. Will you help me?
Glad to. I'm never too busy to help a wife take a swipe at a husband.
Good, Iris. Now you follow us in your car, and whatever you do, keep out of sight. Now here's what I want you to do.
Ah, this mountain air is wonderful. I never get enough of it.
Oh, boy, it sure is great.
Hey, this looks like a good trout stream.
Yeah, this looks like a good one. I'll tell you what. Let's split up and see who catches the most fish.
All right.
I'm going up around that bend there.
Now, wait. I'll do you a favor. Don't go up there. It's too shallow, not enough rapids. There aren't any fish there.
Oh, but it's so pretty.
All right, have it your way. I'll see you later, and I'll have the limit.
All right, goodbye. Let's see now. She should be right up around the bend here.
Liz.
Oh, over here. Oh, Iris, there you are. Have you got them?
The best they had at the market. 6 trout. Aren't they beauties?
Oh, wonderful. Throw them to me, Iris.
What for?
Well, then I won't be lying when I tell George I caught them.
Here, girl.
Oh, thanks.
Take them off the string before you show them to George.
Yeah, I will. I'll see you later. Wait for me.
I'll wait right here where I was before.
I was right, huh? It would take a magician to catch a fish up there.
Shake hands with Houdini.
What do you mean?
Haven't you caught any fish yet?
Oh, have you?
Only these.
Only the... Liz, where did you get all those trout?
I caught them.
In a stream?
Yeah.
Those are lake trout.
They are? Well, maybe they got lost.
Very strange. Well, I can't hope to beat that catch. You feel up to hiking back to camp?
Sure.
Well, we can take it easy. It's pretty rough on you.
Rough? Why, I can beat you back to camp any day.
Oh, you can?
Certainly. I'll tell you what. I'll race you back to camp.
Oh, you're going to be smart, huh? All right, I'll tell you what. Since I'm a man, I'll give you a head start.
Well, since I'm a woman, I'll take it. Goodbye, George.
Goodbye. I'll be seeing you in a minute when I pass you. Hurry up. I'll give you 5 minutes.
I'll have dinner waiting for you when you get back. Now, where did Iris get to? Oh, there you are.
How'd everything go?
Oh, fine, Iris. Do you have your car here?
Well, sure. Why?
I'm hiking back to camp in it. Hurry up before George comes trotting by. Gee, it's getting dark, Iris. Any sign of George yet?
No. I hope he isn't lost.
Oh, wait a minute. There he comes now, down the road.
Where? I don't see anyone.
Look a little lower. He's crawling on his hands and knees.
I better get out of here before he sees me. I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay. Thanks for everything.
Uh-huh.
George, is that you? How'd it go? That was fun, wasn't it, pal? Nothing like hiking, is there? George, you aren't tired, are you? George, say something.
Water.
Oh, I'm sorry, George. I used the water. I got back so early I had time to wash my hair.
You got back that early?
Oh, yes, but I must admit I cheated. I ran most of the way. George, if you're that tired, you better go to bed. Remember, you promised to take me hunting at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh.
sure you have everything straight, Iris?
Well, I think so, Liz. How's George this morning?
Oh, the poor guy. He was so tired it was a shame to get him out of bed. Now review this once more with me.
Oh, okay. I hide up in that oak tree.
Yeah.
And every time you shoot, I throw down a dead duck.
That's right, and if you don't, I'll be a likewise. Now, what if we shoot at a target?
Well, you're going to choose that horseshoe attached to the fence over there.
Yeah.
And I'll bang this one with a rock, like this.
Good. Oh, start climbing. Here comes George.
Okay.
Yeah. Ready to go, Liz?
Yes, George.
Now, here's your rifle.
Let's start hunting. I want to shoot some ducks.
Ducks?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there aren't any ducks within 100 miles of here.
Well, I don't know. These look like pretty good duck trees.
Liz, you find ducks in swamps, not in trees.
Want to bet?
All right, go ahead. If there's a duck in any of these trees, my name isn't George Cooper.
We'll just see. Here goes.
Well?
What did you say, Sam?
I don't get it, Liz.
What's the matter?
First, you catch a lake trout in a stream. And now you shot a duck that's marked bird's eye frozen food.
Oh.
We'll shoot at something we can see. A bottle or a can or Hey, wait a minute. There's a horseshoe over there on the fence.
Horseshoe? Oh, no, we don't want to shoot at that.
Oh, yes, we do.
But it's so little.
Well, maybe you're right.
Okay, you talked me into it. Here I go.
By gosh, you did it.
Nothing to it. Watch this one. With my eyes closed yet.
You missed it.
One of my slow ones.
Give me that gun, Liz. I'll show you some real fancy shooting.
What kind?
There's an old hen up in that tree.
There is?
Yeah. An old hen in green slacks. Bet I can bring her down with one shot. Now watch this. 1, 2...
Don't shoot, George!
Come on down, Iris. It's all over.
Put that gun down, George. We were just having a little fun.
Yeah. Are you mad, George?
I don't know. It was a pretty cheap trick you pulled on me.
Well, it was a dirty trick you pulled on me, bringing me up here to run me ragged.
Well...
Oh, come on and make up, George. Let's not be pals or companions. Let's not even be friends anymore. Let's just go back to being man and wife.
Have been listening to My Favorite Husband, starring Lucille Ball with Richard Denning, and based on characters created by Isabel Scott Rorick. Tonight's transcribed program was produced and directed by Jess Oppenheimer, who wrote the script with Madeline Pugh and Bob Carroll Jr. Original music was composed by Marlon Skiles and conducted by Wilbur Hatch. The part of Katie the maid was played by Ruth Parrott. Watch for Lucille Ball in Fancy Pants with Bob Hope.
Say, listen to this.
It's new, it can't be beat. The grandest treat you ever did eat. Post, sugar, crisp. As a cereal, it's dandy. For snacks, it's so handy. Or eat it like candy. As a cereal.
Look for the red, white, and blue cellophane bag with the 3 little bears. That's Post Sugar Crisp. Today, enjoy this honey of a new cereal that's fun to eat.
Be sure to listen to Lucille Ball in My Favorite Husband again next week, presented by
J-E-L-L. Oh, the big red letters stand for the Jell-O family. Oh, the big red letters stand for the Jell-O family. That's Jell-O.
Yum, yum, yum.
Jell-O pudding. Yum, yum, yum. Jell-O tapioca pudding. Yes, sirree.
Bob LeMond speaking.
This is CBS, where you meet Lucille Ball and My Favorite Husband every Sunday night, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
And that was My Favorite Husband, and the episode Be a Pal to Your Husband. From June 18th, 1950. And this was episode 3 of We Love Lucy. And on behalf of Martha Baker Green and Nancy Zimmerman, this is Rob Spaulding saying thanks for listening, and see you next time. God bless.